Your 6 Nfr Distributing Valve task covers disassembly, cleaning, inspection, repair, assembly, and test. Toolkit, plug gauge block, micrometer, depth gauge, flat gauge, marking, pigment, lapping, compound, 1000 grit, equipment reference, material parts, dry cleaning solvent, pneumatic grease, memory cloth, powder graphite, lubricating oil, triple valve oil, condition, description, 6NR distribution valve removed. Warning, valve assemblies are usually under spring load. Use caution during disassembly procedure so that no parts fly out and cause injury to the personnel. Note, the 2.6 NFR distributing valve produces increased sensitivity of that brake application and release, ensuring reliability operating in long multiple unit consists. Also acts as a safety valve, limiting brake cylinder pressure required standard regardless of the brake pressure employed. When removing and repairing brake valve components, check air lines, pipes for corrosion, brake splits, loosen connections. Repair all lines and pipelines consisting of replacing defective pipelines and connection. Refer to TM 552210222324P for identification of piping. Move 4 nuts, 1 separated by 2 from the reservoir, 3 remove the gasket, 4 remove the 3 bolts, 5 top cover, 6 and gasket, 7. Remove the spring 8, remove the check valve carrier assembly 9. Disassemble the check valve carrier assembly 9 by removing the O-ring, 10, pin 11, check valve 12 from carrier 13. Remove 4 bolts, 14, removing equalizing piston cover 15, gasket 16 and 17. Removing equalizing piston assembly 18. Disassemble equalizing piston assembly 18 by the following. Remove 2 lock pins, 19, 2 spring 20, spring 21, slide valve 22, graduating valve 23, spring 24. Remove nut 25, follower 26, diaphragm 27 from piston 28. Remove 4 bolts 29, slide valve stop 30, gasket 31, O-ring 32, gasket 33. Remove 5 bolts, 34, bottom cover 35, gasket 36. Remove large diaphragm piston assembly 37. Disassemble large diaphragm piston assembly 37 by the following. Remove nut 38, follower 39, diaphragm 40, piston head 41, piston spring 42. Remove O-rings 43 and 44 from piston stem 45. Remove 4 bolts 46, cover 47, 3 gaskets 48. Remove safety valve 49, screen 50, 51, strainer 51, gasket 52, adapter 53, O-ring 54. Cleaning and inspection. Warning. Dry cleaning some of the PD680 is toxic and flammable. Wear protective gloves and goggles. Use only the well-ventilated air. Avoid contact with skin and eyes closed, and don't breathe vapors. Do not use the near open flame or excessive heat. Flash point 100 to 138 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you become dizzy, get with the fresh air medical aid immediately. If contact eyes with wash your eyes, get medical aid immediately. Compressed air used for the cleaning purpose will not exceed 30 psi. Do not use direct air, compressed air against skin. Use goggles, full face shield. Use cloth dampen with the dry cleaning solvent and remove the grease and oil film, exterior, interior of the body. Dry clean. Use the dry cleaning solvent to clean metal parts. Dry compressed air. Inspect metal parts for crack, breaks, cuts, and other damage. Replace with the damaged parts. Check if the springs have not rusted, becomes distorted. Take it on permanent set. Replace the damaged springs. Refinish face and rubber check valve lapping on piece of medium weight. Emery paper caution. Do not use metallic tools. Cleaning chokes. Use the metal tools will change the size of the chokes, resulting in failure of the brake valve system. Note: to avoid misplacement of the chokes, remove and replace 1 choke plug at a time. Clean, inspect, and repair choke plugs by the following. Move choke plug and place dry cleaning solvent. Inspect the choke plug passages for cleanliness. Use compressed air. Remove foreign material. Cleaning, inspection, and repair continue. Remove the choke plug with the dry cleaning solvent with the dry compressed air. Check for the choke plug with the cleaning and unrestricted light coat threads of the choke plug and compound consisting of 1 part graphite, 2 parts, 1 oil, 1 stall. 21. Clean and inspect, repair slide valve bushing and following. Check the slide valve bushing is not scratched or scored. Use plug gauge. Check the depth of the seat. Slide valve seat is scratched or scored. Use lapping compound. Recondition. Use Prussian blue and gauge block instead for low spots on bearing surface. Remove burrs and slide valve seat re-gauge. Use depth gauge and measuring clearance groove with less than 5,000ths of an inch deep of the axle blade with a recut. Do not cut deeper than 20,000ths of an inch. Clean, inspect, repair slide valve, graduating valve from the following. Check the valves that are not scratched, scored, or damaged. Play with the damaged valve. Use a micrometer measure the slide valve thickness bottom of the graduating valve seat. Replace slide valve when the thickness is less than 549,000ths of an inch. Use depth of grate with a measuring depth of 1/8 of an inch. Slide in the slide valve. Replace slide valve in the depth of the slot greater than 93,000ths of an inch. Use the flat gauge thickness for the graduating valve. Graduating valve with the gauge limits. Use lap compound lap slide valve with the slide valve seat with the following. Condition the valve with the rubbing slide valve against the seat several times. The lapping compound. Remove the burrs and rough surface marks. Warning: compressed air with the cleaning purpose of the will not exceed 30 psi. Do not use the compressed air against skin. Use goggles and full face shield. Use the compressed air. Remove foreign particles from the cavities. Regauge graduating valve. Check if the piston is not bent. Micrometer measure diameters. Choose guides on the piston. Place piston in its diameter is greater than 1 inch and 73,000 of an inch. A triple valve and lubricating slide valve bushing. Use silicone grease, lubricating oil rings, and piston valve brushing into the piston valve. And use the clean lint and free cloth. Remove excessive lubrication. Lubricate rubber check valve by placing the box in the dry graphite, shaking the box, and removing the check valve. Wipe excessive graphite off with a piece of chamois. Assembly warning: valve assemblies are under spring load. Use condition assembly procedures to no parts fall apart, fly out, causing injury to personnel. Install O-ring 54, adapter 53. Install adapter 53, gasket 52, strand 51, screen 50, safety valve 49 in body 2. Install 3 gasket 48 and cover 47. And secure with the 4 bolts 46. Assemble the large diagram piston valve assembly 37 with the following the instant. Install O-rings 44 with the 43 piston stem on the 44. Install the piston spring 42 with the piston head 41 on the piston stem 45. Install diaphragm 40 follower 39. Piston head 41. Secure the nut 38. Install large diaphragm piston assembly 37 into the body 2. With the install of the gasket 36 at the bottom, cover 35. With the secure the 5 bolts 34. Install with the gasket 33. O-ring 32 with the gasket 31 on the slide valve 30. Piston slide valve top 30 on the body 2. With the secure with the 4 bolts 29. Assemble equalizing piston assembly 18 with the following. Install the diaphragm 27 with the flower, 26 with the piston, 28 with the screw with the nut, 25 with the tighten the nut, the 30-pound-foot torque. Install graduating valve 23 with the slide valve, 22 with the install spring, 24 with the reset for the graduating valve. Install piston 28 on the slide valve, 22. Check with the spring 24 into the recess of the piston stem. Withholding slide valve 22, the piston on position on piston 28, install the spring 21 on the stem of the piston, secure with the 2 spring pinions 20 on the lock pins 29. Apply the 1 drop of triple valve oil slide valve seat with in the bushing, 1 drop of the face of the slide valve 22. Coat over the entire surface of the oil. Install with the equalizing piston assembly 18 into the body 2. Check with the bed bead of the diaphragm 27 in position with the reset of the body. Install gasket 17, 16 equalizing piston cover 15 and secure 4 bolts 14. Assembly check valve with the carrier assembly 9 with the following. Install the check valve 12 with the carrier 13. Secure with pin 11. Install O-ring 10 and 13. Install check valve with the carrier assembly 9 into the body 2 with the install the spring with the 8 into the carrier 13. Install gasket 7 top cover 6 with the secure the 3 bolts 5. Install body 2 gasket 4 on reservoir 3 and secure the 4 nuts 1. Test. To test the 6 Nfr distributing valve according to the test specification NYT460. The Nfr distributing valve functions as follows: piston diagram, equalizing slide valve, service lap 4, and then services, position diagram, application MRBC, AEX, service, and MBs, BX, EX. Application chamber, pre-chamber, equalizing piston charging, coke, safety supply, exhaust valve, number 24, double check valves, 2-port 26 brake valve, application piston, safety valve, control, choke, distributing valve, or release, 6 Nfr, distributing valve, application cylinder, pipe 2. During the charge and release, the 6 Nfr distributing valve functions after the brake pipe flow within the outer face of the equalizing piston of the diaphragm, forcing the piston slide valve to the release position, air in the brake pipe flow for the charging choke with the equalizing slide valve to the pressure chamber, charging the brake pipe pressure. In this position, equalizing slide valve connects to the application chamber through the port number 4 to the exhaust. Application cylinder of the outer face, application piston, exhausted V with the passage 2A through the number 24A, the double check valve with the passage 26 and 2 and 4, then the distributing valve of the exhaust. The release spring holds application piston, release piston, and the application cylinder cover. The inner and end application piston machine with to and from the exhaust valve seat move away from the rubber seal of the exhaust valve into the brake cylinder patches. Main reserve constantly present in the chamber with the application cylinder with the outer feet for the application piston, V for the passage 2 and 26, the number 24 double check valve, and then passage 2A. During the surface brake application, the 6 Nfr distributing valve functions as follows: the high pressure of the pressure chamber of the equalizing slide valve of the chamber to cover the equalizing piston slide valve to move upward in surface position while the slide valve port connections are made. Upon the first first movement towards the position of the graduating valve servers or communication between the brake and the pipe pressure chamber. The communication between the pressure chamber and the passage tube then made allow the pressure chamber air to flow over the application of the chamber, the application cylinder, outer face of the application piston, V with the tube passage 2, and 2624 double A chuck valve. The passage 2A flow pressure chamber is continued until the pressure has been reduced to slightly below the brake pipe pressure for the opposite side of the equalizing pressure piston. At the time, the piston and graduating valve will move in the surface lap position, terminating further flow of the pressure chamber air passes the tube. Maximum pressure in the passage tube is limited to the safety valve, by the safety valve connected by the passage tube with the safety valve with the control choke. Pressure that developed in the passage tube application cylinder outer face for the application piston called the piston to upward again for the force of the releasing spring first with the seal with the exhaust seal seat with against for the underside of the supply exhaust valve, then raise the valve of the supply seat to allow the main reservoir to airflow for the brake cylinder cavity B through passage BC. Brake cylinder air pressure also builds up in chamber C to interface for the application piston diaphragm V with a stabilizing choke. Testing continued. A brake cylinder pressure in the chamber C with the approach for the application cylinder pressure for the outside with the diaphragm and piston. The application piston move downward into flow to allow supply and exhaust valve to be C. The supply valve of the seat with the terminate the further flow of the main reserve of the air brake cylinder. During the brake release, the 6F and R brake valve functions valve with the increase of the brake pipe pressure for the moving equalizing piston fly valve with the release position to connection passage to application chamber to exhaust port reduction passages. Application cylinder permits for the highest brake cylinder pressure in chamber C with the move of the piston out of the contact exhaust valve seat, allowing the brake cylinder airflow through the chamber B with the exhaust valve seat into the atmosphere of the brake pipe brake cylinder exhaust passage. During the emergency application, the 6 Nfr distributing valve functions the same manner as during the surface of the application, in addition with the following. The main reserve is connected with the port 12V with the brake valve with the emergency valve, the port from port 12 with the main reserve airflow with the check valve choke fitting the passage 2, passes the equalizing piston outer fit with the application piston V with the passage 2 and B with the 24A with the double check valve with the piston 2A. Main reserve pressure will increase with the valve safety valve setting, where it's maintained by the safety valve control choke with the blow down safety valve. Should the brake valve handle be moved with emergency position, control pressure on the passage 2 is prevented from escaping the vent pipe number 12 with the brake check valve with the pipe 12 choke. Ensure the pod with the brake light release when the emergency brake application is bailed off. During the independent braking application, air pressure passes of the 26C brake valve flows directly to the outer face of the application piston V with the 24A double check valve and passage 2A. All right, that was your the 6 Nfr distributing valve part 2.